What is up, hackers? Welcome back to another episode of Hack Crypto. We hack all of our crypto education. If you guys are brand new here, be sure to be subscribed with notifications on for my next fire video. Now, in this episode, I'm going to be going over what I believe to be the future trajectory for venture capital. Now, I'm going to be covering a project called MoonbootsDAO, and I believe DAOs are the answer to a lot of the fragmentation and just BS around venture capital. As a quick disclaimer, this is a sponsored review. I reached out to the MoonbootsDAO team to bring you guys the latest and greatest, and they said yes. So ultimately, this is my overview of their project, what they're offering and everything. Of course, do your own research with the links in the description. Always do your own research and check them out with the link in the description, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I like that what MoonbootsDAO is approaching this with is basically a membership style program that is kind of like the good old boys LP of venture capital, where instead of on Sand Hill Road where people are doing $1,000 lunches with all of the partners and things like that, this is just a group of individuals that all are holding different NFTs, different projects, and getting access to the future of Web3. And using a decentralized autonomous organization, they're able to do this. And I really like this approach. Some quick background here on why I'm passionate about venture capital and getting people involved in it. There is an issue with investing in the US specifically. And this is around the idea that accredited investors get access to certain instruments and things that they can invest in, i.e. the highest performing funds out there in the world. They get access to that, and the average person cannot get access to those funds to put their money in and get thousands of % in return, get access to unicorns early on and things like that. But they can go to Vegas and put their money on red. They can put their money on black and flip a coin, lose all their money. And now with the invent of sports betting out there that's everywhere, all over the US and every state it's starting to open up, people can just quickly flip on their phone and lose all their money pretty quickly, just like a lottery ticket effectively. So what you have is a world where people have a 1 in 100 million chance of winning something. And they're more likely to do that because it's accessible and there are no barriers to that. But on the other end, you have the highest performing assets, and the ability to get access to them is completely limited to accredited investors. I've heard of a lot of solutions presented, like a test that allow you to put money into very high yielding, well-known legendary LP funds behind venture capital firms on like Sand Hill and things like that, like a test that you could take and pass, but ultimately it was never big news. It never got out there. And yet sports betting, gambling of all different kinds did. Long story short, you can go lose all your money, no problem. The government has no issues with that in gambling, in so much so that regulation is passing that you can just do it from your phone and quickly just lose all your money, no problem. But you cannot go and put money into a venture capital firm and get the 1000x on a unicorn investment early on. And that is where something like MoonbootsDAO comes into the picture, where you have a decentralized organization of all of these individuals that can spot good projects, submit them into the community, and basically work together to fund and get an allocation of that project in a completely decentralized and governed manner, which I think is a beautiful way of flipping venture capital upside down. Because doing this allows any individual from anywhere in the world to say, all right, if this gaming token is launching and we believe this is going to be a big deal, I have my own network, I have my own relationships, I can invest in this alongside hundreds, if not thousands of other individuals in this membership on MoonbootsDAO. And we can all get our allocations, use all of our networks, power together, and push this thing into where we believe it can go. And this type of decentralization through a DAO is new. It is a very innovative concept, and I like the ideal behind it because it's giving everybody access. And that's why I'm here. That's why a lot of people watching this are here. And I believe that DAOs are a beautiful instrument to get things in the hands of people that traditionally couldn't get it. And as a quick side note of a great example of a DAO that happened many years ago was Constitution DAO. And this was where a group of people band together, all pooled money to try and purchase the Constitution. This was covered in every media outlet. It was basically headline news, I think in 2020 or 2021, where everybody was trying to just do what they could to give the people back the original copy of the Constitution. And just a great revolutionary concept like that, I believe can be attached to any industry, real estate, venture capital, just like MoonbootsDAO. And I believe that this is how things are going to move in a digital age. And especially when you have influencers and KOLs that are getting involved in different projects who have their own communities, you have waves of individuals and walls of capital coming into projects that they want to get access to and have an opinion. They want to be heard. And that's something that is very, very underrepresented in venture capital, especially. There's two different things that I want to mention here. Obviously, the links will be in the description below for you to go on and do your own research. So I'm going to dive onto their website, talk about the VIP access as well as the special access. So as you can see, join the elite. This is exactly what I was talking about, where traditionally it is the elite class that get access to venture capital funds. And this is a great example of tokenizing a very walled off industry. So you can see what I mentioned, the VIP pass and the special access pass. These have different values, of course, but the key ones that I wanted to highlight here is, of course, the OTC and then the enhanced DAO staking and voting rights for the VIP, as well as the CHAPS token exposure. So there's going to be a bunch of different tokens that come in to wallets that are in this program, because it is just basically a venture pool where you're going to be getting access to these different ones. So MoonPass portfolio management, I think that this is a very, very cool concept where basically a small investor could get involved in relatively a large amount of investments, I think, based on this. So you have a private angel network. So if you had a project, for example, you could potentially pitch it to the angel network. The special access is one that basically is just a kind of a smaller investor getting involved in the IDO itself, which is, I think, a value, of course, but it's nowhere near what this level of exposure is going to get you. So I think the crowdfunding access, the stake for the ecosystem rewards is always going to be a value, but ultimately, passive investing and IDO prices is pretty good. But if you are thinking about getting involved in something like a venture firm, the check sizes are usually going to be, obviously correlated to your return. And people that are getting involved in venture capital, traditional venture capital, are putting in millions and millions of dollars. And if you are getting involved, a $500 investment, I'm not going to see much of a big swing from that, but a $10,000 is potential life-changing. So I think to each their own, but ultimately, I see immense value in this VIP one. Of course, you have it right on their site with the MoonbootsDAO token. Then they have their NFT. So when you have an NFT in the wallet, one of my favorite parts about NFTs is that it gives you access to things because it's in a wallet. You can access all sorts of different websites. Of course, people know who has the NFTs, so they get token drops and they get airdrops of all different kinds, even from people that are not in this program. But when you hold an NFT, you're basically holding up a flag that says, hey guys, I have this, so I'm interested in this. And people then give you access to different things. And one of my favorite parts about what MoonbootsDAO is doing is that by holding the MB1 Genesis, you're going to be getting all these different types of airdrops from portfolio companies that are coming to the DAO saying, hey guys, I want an investment. I need an investment of $1 million, whatever it is, in USDT. I needed an MB DAO tokens. And basically everybody votes on it. And if they're doing an airdrop, I'm sure that this will be included in there for the MB1 holders. They're basically like the cream of the crop. And of course, there's 3 different networks here: L2 on Polygon, BNB, and then Etherscan. The backers are pretty remarkable. And of course, all of the documentation and everything is here. But I wanted to finally point out that it opens the door to the network connection and portfolio. So I mentioned previously that each member or contributor of the DAO has their own network and their own connection and their own investments. What happens here is a beautiful network effect occurs when everybody is participating with marginal contribution. In game theory, everybody has something that they're bringing to the table. And when you have all of these individuals bringing projects, bringing their own portfolios and everything to a DAO that are voting on it and making investments, you have basically endless deal flow, because a traditional VC firm lives and dies by its deal flow. If you can't get any deals coming in that are decent, or just any deals in general to filter through and talk to and learn from, you will go out of business pretty quickly. So it is very key to understand a DAO actually is, each member is a funnel of connections, deal flows, and a network. So I think it's a beautiful way of describing how this approach really transforms and innovates on top of venture capital when you open up all of its members to deal flow in mass. And of course, whether you are active as an early stage or you just want to be passive, these are 2 key approaches that are very simple to understand for everyday investors. Whether you're just actively looking for early stage startups in the space or you just want to be passive, this is the approach for you. That's it for my overview of the MoonbootsDAO program. I'm really excited for this, and beyond MoonbootsDAO, I'm just excited for venture capital in general to be disrupted, because what I mentioned before about non-accredited investors just getting walled out from the highest performing assets on earth being investing in startups early. And I believe that this is a good route to go. So obviously the links will be below, so you can check out the VIP access and the special access, but ultimately just check out the research below. Like, go check them out on Twitter, go check them out on Telegram, and always do your research on these different types of DAOs, because it is very much a fully sovereign way of approaching any business venture, because you are on your own, you're in there, you're talking to people, you are getting access to very, very unique investment opportunities that you still have to do the research on. So you're still going to have to learn about these opportunities and understand the risks, and always just do research on these. And each token that's coming in, whether it's via email, Telegram, or whatever, just always dig into it. Ask people for help. That is the key benefit that I believe something like a DAO provides, is everyone is in the same boat. Everyone is invested. Everybody wants the success overall to happen. So make sure you talk to people, ask for help. Ask for people to help you with underwriting when they're looking at different projects. And especially when you see that people, crowdfunding is happening, people are getting involved, always check to see who's getting involved. Follow them, ask them questions, just see who's moving money around in these communities, because I believe that there are whales in each one of these types of communities, and you can follow their wallets on Etherscan or Polyscan or whichever one that you're using. You can follow these wallets and basically mimic investments alongside them. There was a really famous wallet called OXB1 a couple of years ago. People always kind of rumored that it was Mark Cuban and his team. People rumored that it was Snoop Dogg for a couple of years, but ultimately it wasn't. It came out that there was a couple different people behind it, and it was one of the most famous wallets, if not the most famous wallet over the last 5 years, because it was making just banger after banger investment, and people were always curious who it was. But at the end of the day, it didn't matter. You had literally venture funds plowing money into whatever projects that OXB1 project was investing in, because they were all following it. So that's a good tip for anybody watching this. That's not financial advice or anything, but just check wallets, see what people are doing, see what these projects are that are coming to MoonbootsDAO with IDO prices, the TGEs with their vesting schedules, and just do your research on what each one of these projects is presenting, what the upside is, what the downside is, and just do your research. And that is it for this episode. I hope you guys like it. I want to bring more projects to you guys as the bull market is kicking off, and there's so much opportunity out there to see new projects coming in that you can take part in, and doing your own research and becoming your own investor. And that is it for this episode. Slap a like if you like these types of projects, and I will see you here on the next episode of Hack Crypto.